Hi, my name is Fahad Usman and I work in the security industry. I have been doing Homelabbing for the last 6 to 7 years, and I started off with a very small NAS, running TrueNAS on it, hosting some family videos and pictures. But I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn about networking, how networking works. I wanted to learn about cybersecurity. I wanted to learn how to attack. I wanted to learn how to defend my IT infrastructure. I wanted to learn how network monitoring is performed. I think the key to all this was, how do I lay out my network? How do I do network segmentation? And I'm doing it using VLANs and pfSense. So now I think I have a working model which I would like to share with you all. So in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of what network we are going to build, how we are going to build it, what hardware I'm using, and how do you connect all this in a safe environment. So let's go to the computer screen and get started. So here we are on the computer screen, and this is the overall network diagram. And as you can see, it looks very complicated and it looks massive, but it's not complicated. Just think of it in two parts. On the right hand side, I have all my infrastructure running using VLANs, and that is managed by pfSense VM. On the left hand side, this is my home network, my ISP router, and all my trusted devices are connected on this network. So I am using Dell R720 server, very cheap these days on eBay, and I'll give you more details about it in my next video when I'll be covering hardware. So let's go through the network quickly. What do we have here is, I have about 7 to 8 networks running, and each have a specific purpose. So for example, pfSense LAN is hosting my Pi-hole, which is a network ad blocking software, and it also have Ansible and Ubiquity controller for my access point. It also have a guest network, so if any guest comes in the house, they can connect to this network. So that is completely segregated to the other networks. So if the guest device is already compromised, there is a firewall rules in place which will stop it to pivot into the other networks. So I have a monitor network. Its job is just to monitor the traffic and the VMs and any devices that are connected to the internet, and also internally as well. I have my Postgres server running completely in a different network. Then if you scroll down, I have my storage network, and this is where my TrueNAS boxes are. So this network is highly secure. I've given certain devices access to this network, a network called IoT for Internet of Things. So I have CCTV at home, and I have some temperature sensors, intrusion detection systems in the house, and some other smart devices like smart TV and my printer and a smart fridge. So as you know, these CCTVs, I don't think they ever get updated, and they are vulnerable. So what happens if you have your CCTV and your primary network all in one place, then they can basically find out which other devices are on the network, and potentially try and attack those. So I wanted to create a completely separate network just for my Internet of Things devices. So down here, final network, I called it Evil LAN, and as the name suggests, this is where all the vulnerable software is hosted. So I have a domain controller with a couple of Windows VMs, and this is where I attack machines using Kali or Parrot, and vulnerable software like Metasploitable and OneHub and Websploit. They all live inside this, and you can see this is completely segregated as well. So only certain devices are allowed to get into this network, but this network cannot go back and initiate connections to anywhere else in the network. I do have a Cisco switch, and that is managed by pfSense, and this is where my access point is connected, and that access point enables me to create different SSIDs based on the VLANs. So this is why I like a bit Ubiquiti, because it makes it super easy. And some other Internet of Things devices are also connected again on the same VLAN as VLAN 172, and these devices are used to manage my smart bulbs in the house and my heating system in the house. So on the left hand side, as I said, this is just a normal typical ISP router where this computer is connected using wireless connection, and it has two Ethernet cables coming out from this router and going into my Dell server. My Dell server actually have about 4 NICs, 1 gigabit NICs, and I also have 10 gigabit card as well. So we'll talk about it in a more detail about how I make those connections. So for now, 2 network cables are coming out of my router, going straight into Dell server. One is used for iDRAC system. So iDRAC is Dell's internal software where I don't need to plug in a monitor or a keyboard or a mouse to manage it. So I can do it remotely. So this is very important. And because that server is also up in the attic, so it's not here. The other connection is I'm using as a pfSense WAN link, because pfSense minimum needs 2 network interface cards. One it uses for WAN connection or for the internet. The second one is on the LAN side. So I have created Linux Bond for 10 gigabit connections for pfSense LAN management, and one connection which is the gigabit connection for the WAN that goes out on the internet. So I think this is a very quick overview of what we are going to build. We're going to build it all together, and hopefully it will help you understand how these things work together, how networking works, and how you can segregate your network into small pieces, just like I did, performing a different function, and they can also be completely segregated. So if anything that is vulnerable or being hacked, you basically try and contain it within the same box instead of going through all the other networks. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave below and I will try and answer those as much as possible. And if you like this content, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.